Yesterday, the Israel Says stenographers told us that Israel said that they attacked the Pars gas facility, which is owned jointly by Qatar and Iran in southern Iran, that they struck it in coordination, conjunction, agreement with Trump. They said that unequivocally this was actually a strategy to punish Iran. What it was one more step on the escalation ladder, because I think Israel knew that Iran would retaliate and retaliate against energy facilities. So Iran did exactly that and struck a major facility in Qatar, causing severe damage. So Trump realized that this has all gone so badly that now he's saying he had nothing to do with the strike on Pars. He knew nothing about it, absolutely nothing about it, and threatened Iran that if they strike Qatar again, then he will destroy the Pars facility completely and absolutely. Is this making sense? Are you all getting this? So Trump wants us to believe that he has no control over what Israel does in the Israel-US war on Iran. And that may be true. That may be true, that they have completely lost control of what Israel does. Even if they had knowledge and Trump is lying, they seem to have lost control. Because now oil prices have shot up to $113 per barrel. And there seemed to be no sign of this reducing. Like I said, none of these people care about the human cost, as in people dying. They only care about profit, how this is going to be perceived from an electoral perspective. They don't care about human lives. So let's just park that. Today, Saudi Arabia has convened foreign ministers from all over the Muslim world. And continuously, the messages coming out of these meetings is a condemnation of Iran. The ultimate gaslighting, pardon the pun, that makes us think that maybe Iran started this aggression. They're continuously demanding that Iran stop its attacks on infrastructure and civilians and so on and so forth. Last we checked, February 28th was when Iran and its people and its infrastructure and its leaders and its children were attacked and killed. So there is that. But more worrisome is that Saudi Arabia seems to be putting out there in the ether through various commentary by Saudi analysts that they are asking Pakistan to now exercise the military pact with Saudi Arabia, which would mean that Pakistan would have to defend Saudi Arabia against Iran's attacks. And what the analysts are putting out there is that Saudi Arabia may actually start to attack Iran, and that Pakistan would be part of that attack. That they would demand that Pakistan help with the attack, and more worrisome, that Pakistan's nuclear assets be put on the table on behalf of Saudi Arabia. These comments that are being put out there. Again, there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, Israel's Hasbara, false flags being put out there. But I think it would be very helpful for Pakistan to make some categorical statements on where they stand vis-a-vis their participation in this conflict, beyond signing on to resolutions and documents condemning Iran on behalf of Saudi Arabia. Now remember, Saudi Arabia can exercise a lot of pressure on Pakistan. Saudi Arabia gives Pakistan a lot of oil, has rolled over Pakistan's debt and credit facilities, and the remittances from Saudi Arabia by Pakistani labor are the largest remittances that come into Pakistan. So there is a huge amount of threat to Pakistan should they not play ball with Saudi Arabia. The Pakistan military basically serves to protect the holy sites in Saudi Arabia and much, much more that we probably don't know. But whether Pakistan has committed to put its nuclear assets, Saudi analysts are bringing that up, and it's extraordinarily worrisome what that means. So Pakistan, again, is threading the needle very, very carefully, and I don't envy any of them in the situation that they are in. So that is the, what is being said and what is being put out in the ether today. Curiously, Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, which is the umbrella agency that oversees 18 intelligence agencies in the United States, hemmed and hawed and was entirely ambivalent about whether Iran was an imminent threat or not. And actually, in her written statement, has made it very clear that Iran was not, and that Iran's nuclear capability had been set back quite significantly, and Iran was not producing anything toward a nuclear bomb since the raid in June. Curiously enough, in her oral testimony, she removed that paragraph completely because she didn't want to piss off Trump. Funnily enough, she's completely ambivalent about the current situation. However, she did find time to say that Pakistan was an egregious threat to the American homeland, and Pakistan's ballistic missiles were an egregious threat to the homeland. I wonder why. Tulsi Gabbard has made she has not been shy in aligning herself with Modi and Modi's Hindutva ideology. There is that. So we should keep that in mind when she decides to categorically state that Pakistan's ballistic missile capabilities threatened the US homeland. So basically indicating what? That America and Israel should attack Pakistan? What exactly is she indicating here? She also made it quite clear that Trump was the ultimate intelligence officer of the United States, and whatever he felt was actually what was real. So let's see if Trump also feels that Pakistan is the ultimate threat to America's homeland. This is all going sideways and always, and not the way that I think the Trump administration really wanted it to go or thought it would go. As we know, Joe Kent resigned as a number 2 to Tulsi Gabbard, and yesterday he gave an interview to Tucker Carlson, talking further about why he thought we are in a very dangerous situation and that Israel is leading America by the nose. And he gave examples of all of that, and anybody who wants to can hear that interview. What is important is to know that all pro-Israel organizations are piling on, calling him anti-Semitic and saying that he's using anti-Semitic tropes, etc., including J Street, which is supposed to be the counter to AIPAC. So listen to the interview yourself and decide whether he is using those tropes or not, or what he is saying is how the Israel-America relationship has been working. The fact that Trump woke up and decided to distance himself so aggressively from the attack on the gas facility in southern Iran, to me, is an indication of being led by the nose. I do think it was a joint operation, but who decided it was a good thing to do? That to me is the question. Who convinced who that it was a good thing to do? Because surely everybody knew in the region, around the world, that Iran would retaliate in a big way. Because Iran sees this as a joint operation and sees American bases as an existential threat to them, and says, if you destroy our energy and oil facilities, we will respond in kind. And that is what they are doing. So how did American intelligence respond and say, do this or don't do this? Were they even involved in this? Who exactly is leading who by the nose? That is the question. And I think Trump's aggressive denial this morning kind of gives us a clue. So, like I said, the stenographers yesterday said, Israel says the US was involved, and today Trump himself is saying, I knew nothing about this. So there is that. They are now talking about the Pentagon requesting $200 billion supplemental for this war. $200 billion. And there is some talk of a price tag of over $1.5 trillion. Yes, $1.5 trillion. There are also all sorts of indications that America is about to invade Iran with ground troops. So that rumor emerged last night and is again floating around in the ether. That would be a horror beyond a horror. But that is what is in the ether, and all we can do is wait and see if that is correct or not. But again, very important to note that Trump has distanced himself from the attack on Pars. Also important to note that the Saudi analysts are putting it out there that Pakistan is being asked to get involved on behalf of Saudi Arabia. So America is being portrayed as mercenary army on behalf of Netanyahu, and Pakistan is being portrayed as a mercenary army on behalf of MBS. None of this is a good look for Trump or for the Pakistani leadership. But we can only wait and see how things turn out in the next 24 to 48 hours. But none of this is looking good at all.